PSA card update and my thoughts on hobby regulation. As we end 2024, it is December 30th, 2024. Love to vlog these things as well. First of all, PSA update, no change in status. I laugh because I'm tired of crying. I seriously, for those who don't know, I have cards that were sent back to me on November 19th. November 24th, they stopped moving the Postal Service. Postal Service says that there's insufficient funds and are fraudulent labeling. That's all I've heard from the post office since then. I've spoken to my post office recently. Last week, I was down there after I returned from my vacation. I was down there on Thursday. My local post office guy knew nothing, couldn't figure it out. He passed the note on to the postmaster, who apparently PSA has spoken to. She's been out though because of the holidays, so she's not done anything on her side. Again, this is a small post office I'm referring to, very, very small. I don't know what she would be able to do. I spoke to the local post office, the city post office postmaster. He looked into it. He was perplexed on why this still has not moved, what's going on. And he has it still as insufficient funds and believes that in that case, the item is normally sent back to the shipper and they reship it, or it's sent to the send. Again, he reiterates everything I've had. I've spoken to PSA numerous times. Their last email was, again, they sent some weird code. I'm supposed to tell the postmaster, like in Latin phrases or some, I don't know. I'll have to share that sometimes. I'm getting tired of this crap. Anyway, they felt like it was out of their hands and they're waiting for the post office to get back to them. I did reach out to, I think it was the VP of sales or VP of PSA, copied him on an email. He said he'd look into it as well. That was Thursday or Friday last week. So as of Monday, December 30th, there's been no movement. Package is still showing stuck at the Postal Service. PSA still doing absolutely nothing, in my opinion, to get this rectified. And U.S. Postal Service feels like there's nothing for them to do. That it's, PSA. So I, Mr. Customer, am just screwed. Why am I documenting this? Well, I believe other people will have this problem in the future. I believe this will be resolved at some point. Probably not to my liking, but at some point. I mean, the only way I'd be liking it right now is if you just give me full insurance value for the entire shipment. I want 38 cards at full insurance value. Some of these are PSA 8s, guys, okay? I don't know how they insure it to full value. Like if you put their max value of 400, but it's a PSA 8 and only a PSA 10, I'm assuming that's not a $400 card, right? You tell me, insurance people. I'm just frustrated. PSA 8s, yeah, there are some PSA 8, but there's a lot of good cards in here too, man. I tell you what kills me. A lot of my showies are in here, man. My what's the other one that's in there that pissing me off being held back? Oh, I have some Freddie Freemans. Good God, could you not kill me? The time would have been perfect. They got back here for Christmas. Anyway, that's a PSA update. No update. We'll probably won't get an update until the new year because I have some other videos coming out. Okay, next thing I want to talk about, a lot of buzz around hobby regulation. Apparently some articles popped, and my friend over there, Boston Sports Card Hunter, was highlighting them, although he had nothing to do with them. He is the libertarian anarchist. I think he's personally a socialist. He just wants to put socialist constraints on us free market business people out here in the sports card Wild West Walking Dead world. But I'm just teasing, Nick. You're probably not a real socialist. But anyway, on this whole topic, I just want to share this with you. When I came to the hobby, I had no idea what the hell I was getting into. For the first few years, I just enjoyed it. Then I got into it. Then I started really realizing what's happening. I had kind of this aha moment, like, what the I looked into regulation. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There's a local group um, in my state that looks at kids' rights on cyber, kids' rights on the internet. They also work with some of the other larger organizations, but most stuff starts at the state level. I volunteered with those guys. I did not do any official work with them, but I know the people over there, spoke to them about this, and I brought up the topic of sports cards and sports card gambling. And the first thing I had to do was explain what the hell it was to several of the adult parents, and they thought that was interesting, but not enough, not enough. And we had a whole conversation. I spoke about this with one of the guys about it. Part of the reason is this industry floats this. It's a unique. It's similar to the cigarette marketing where you're targeting children, but there is no direct impact that we can point to where they're getting cancer or getting sick from it, right? Although I would argue you could show that gambling over maybe 10 or 15 years, maybe, I don't know, maybe you can show some socialist impact from that too. But my point to this is that it's very difficult to regulate this industry. Where would the regulation come from? Right? It'd probably have to come from state or local level first. It'd have to probably target, let's say it was specifically targeting the chances, the chase, the sweepstakes side of the business. I think that's actually been challenged because if you look in Canada, Topps has to put certain things on products. In fact, one thing I noticed, I don't know if it's still there, but years ago, there's like a math question, 3 + 2 =, and you had to answer that. And I was like, why did they have this dumb math question on there? But it was to show that this was not a game of chance. It was a game of a skill. Or I don't remember the exact reason, but there was, and there is some loose regulations on sports cards as a sweepstakes slash contest. Very loose. Here in the US, I don't see things changing in the next few years. I don't think the current anti-regulation administration is going to be coming in and really caring about kids in sports cards. In fact, if anything, I really think it's going to open the floodgates because I think what see happen is you might see, for example, TikTok not get banned, right? Which keeps that marketplace even stronger. Think about this. Like if you think this administration is going to help you regulate, TikTok would be one of the first things they would stop, but they're not probably not going to do that. We're going to find some workaround. Even if it's like, hey, my buddy's going to buy it, like Trump is going to buy TikTok. Wouldn't that be interesting? Truth Social buys TikTok. Okay. Anyway, my point is, I just don't see it coming. And at the what you might have happen, right? Which I think you could have happened, is I think at a state level, you might have some state rules, regulations similar to what they've done around pornography and age verification, where they want to lump if you're going to be buying into a break or buying sports cards online, that you need to verify you're 18 or older. Again, not against that. I think that's perfectly fine to do that. Um, that could be your first step into a regulation. But again, that's not going to change much. Other states won't. Other countries won't. This will go overseas. People will find ways around your regulations, VPNs. Um, there's just too much toothpaste outside right now. Why am I telling you this? First of all, because I want to share that again, I understand. I feel like it's kind of a matrix moment. You take the red pill and you realize, it is what it is. And you can either go inside and make a change, or you can stand on the outside and bitch and complain. Now, in 2024, I got involved in business and sports cards with my mindset that I want to be different. I want to change how things are done. I believe the best way to do that is through self-regulation. I do. I'm very pro. What do I want to say here? I'm libertarian, but I'm also pro oversight. I recognize that people will sell anything if you let them, right? You'll sell you poison in a jar. They tell you the antidote just to get you sick, so they can sell you another jar if they could, right? That's unfortunate. So we need some oversight in that. I think the best way to get that is through, again, some self-regulation. And I think the breaking community could be the one to do that first. The reason I say that is that unlike local card stores, who really are in direct competition with each other, breakers are as well, but not quite as much. It depends on the breaker's mindset. I know, everybody wants every dollar or whatever it is. But I also think there's some of those who recognize a strong community of good breakers is good for the hobby. And I go back to my experience again in mid 2010s. I don't want to say 16, 17, 18. Breaker culture for me was a very, very good website. It wasn't for everybody, but it was a site where you posted reviews, you could complain about breakers, things were exposed, there was conversations. And I'm not going to say it did a lot because I'm sure people say, oh, breaker culture, blah, 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 didn't do anything for me, rah, 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 whatever it is. But I look at it as a part of a direction of self-regulation where I wish we could bring this back, right? I wish there was a website that was impartial and allowed you to post true feedback on breaks, on customer service, on pricing, all that stuff. And again, as I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I mean, there's Facebook, what's that thing called? Not Facebook, blowout forums. I'm sure there's some stuff done on that. Um, I think the key is to maybe I don't want to say commercialize it, but standardize it so it's a trusted website, right? If I'm new to the hobby, I'm trying to find out about breaking, and I go to blowout forums, I'm probably going to find a lot of bad stuff that again can't be verified or unverified. So again, I think like if there was a central location to get information on breaking, what is breaking? Right here's a good example. What if you went to his website that told you what breaking was and explained to you some best practices of breaking? The reason breakers have two cameras on at all times, the reason breakers use one camera or use a breaker, we use three. Give us explanations for that. Talk to us about stuff. What is a team break? What is a PYT? How do we calculate the cost of a break? What is the relative percentage of chance of hit? What's the checklist look like? Where would the checklist be found? How are checklists different for different teams? When we talk about relics and autos and all those other things, right? All that stuff used to be out there. It was harder to find now, but it still is. And I think if we had that, if we again self-regulated, if we came together as a community, a group, kind of similar. I mean, do the dealers really do any self-regulation? Probably not. They don't, right? I don't know. Do they do anything in national, like vote on? Do the dealers ever vote a bad dealer out? I don't think they do. Huh. Anyway, those are my thoughts on regulation, sports card breaking, and my PSA. Have a wonderful day. Welcome back to the work week. If you're doing it tomorrow, I'm going to have another video out. Probably going to be my video on my favorite channels of 2024. And it's really not just on my favorites. It's just the ones that I really find value and I enjoy watching. And when they're not there each week, I'm like, man, where the hell did they go? So I'll bring those up in another video. I'm sure I'll leave a few out that I forgot. But anyway, like, comment, and all that other stuff that people do when they subscribe.